A Moment of Zen is sponsored by FinTech TV.
FinTech TV, the newest streaming channel focused exclusively on the business of blockchain, digital assets, and sustainability. Broadcasting from our studio on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange with daily reports from NASDAQ, global expansion, and 24/7 coverage. Become part of the launch. Head to fintech.tv/invest. Fintech.tv/invest.
Tune in to A Moment of Zen, Saturday nights from 9 to 10 p.m. on 710 WOR, the voice of New York.
Vince Molinari from FinTech TV, and we're broadcasting today from the Venetian Resort at the Jones Trading Healthcare and Technology Innovation Conference. And I have the distinct pleasure and honor to have Eric Trump, the Executive Vice President of the Trump Organization, with us. Eric, what an honor. I am so delighted to have you here.
Good to be on, my friend. It's good to be here.
Let's go. I mean, I can ask you hours of conversation, questions. You gave this amazing keynote speech, and it was so insightful to see the journey and how, as you say, a real asset family ended at the arrival destination of embracing Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies, and really leading this country back to the forefront of this innovation.
Well, that's right. Listen, I've been in hard assets my entire life, and had it not been for kind of the weaponization of the political system, had it not been for kind of the cancel culture that we saw through banks, I don't think I would have ever stumbled on Bitcoin, which has become really kind of a first love for me. And I certainly don't think I would have ever stumbled on DeFi, CeFi, stablecoin, something that's become such a big part of the Trump organization and our efforts right now. Again, I'm a hard asset guy, right? My entire life. If you couldn't touch it, if you couldn't see it, if you couldn't feel it, it didn't exist. And, I think the more mature I get, the more I kind of look into the future of finance, the more I realize how antiquated the big banks are, the more I realize how slow, costly. There's nothing that can't be done on blockchain that can't be done better than JP Morgan can do it. Banking shouldn't be 9 to 5. It shouldn't be a swift wire system where every single Friday you're waiting for a payment to come through. Home mortgages shouldn't take 90 or 120 days to get when you've banked with an institution for 20 years. They know every aspect of your life, your family. You just see a financial system that's broken, and you see a financial system that's antiquated, and you see a financial system that's been so punitive to so many, not just here in the U.S., but around the world. And I'm excited to help lead kind of the revolution of modernizing that and really bringing cryptocurrencies to the forefront.
Well, there's so much to it. You said there and earlier on stage, and what resonated so much, I could see you felt it, the passion of talking about how we help everyday Americans bringing this forward. How do you bring efficiency? And on the back end of that, the evolution as part of this revolution, that you're not even going to realize what's operating in the background when this becomes so efficiency. So maybe you can dive into that a little bit.
Yeah, well, I want everybody to realize that when they walk through these cities and they see these massive logos on the top of buildings, that, they're funding that. They're funding that through their mortgages. They're funding that through their credit applications. The reason, so many of the fees from banks are so exorbitant these days is they're funding the finest real estate anywhere in the world. So the top executives can have these unbelievable marble palaces on the top of these buildings, right? I mean, I know how much buildings cost to run. Why? Because we own a lot of commercial buildings, and you see them, and they're pushing hard paper back and forth, and you're sitting there saying, why? Why do you have those people in the mailroom? Why do you have those people? Those security officers. Why do you have floors and floors and floors of people who are, pushing paper files back and forth to validate what they already know you're worth based on the fact that you've been a customer of theirs for years? It feels so antiquated. It feels so foreign. And the people that had the advantage in that world are guys like me, right? Families like ours that has a lot of zeros on kind of the back of their net worth. And, guess what? We're the people that can call the heads of the banks and say, listen, I want that loan to be 75 basis points less. The person who's going out and they're starting their first, pet grooming company, they don't have that advantage. Yet they are being drowned by those fees that are otherwise paying for those massive buildings. And so really, when you look at DeFi, when you look at CeFi, when you look at kind of what cryptocurrency can do for the modern financial era, it can make it faster, i.e. you can process transactions 24 hours a day, 7 days a week versus, at the behest of your bank, which is, again, 9 to 5, Monday through Friday with a long lunch break in between. It can make it cheaper. It can make it more transparent. It avoids the kind of weaponization that we've seen in this country. But forget about this country, what people see all around the world. I mean, imagine living in some nation in Africa. Imagine living in some nation in South America, where every year your currency is being devalued by 50%. I mean, what the hell do you do? Where do you go? Crypto gives you a great kind of platform. It actually levels the playing field for a lot of humanity. And I think that's a beautiful thing. And I also think, and I said it in there, I think it saves the US dollar, to tell you the truth, because guess what? I don't care what country you are around the world. I don't care if you're Europeans. I don't care if you're from South America. I don't care if you're from Asia. You want the United States dollar. Everybody wants the United States dollar. And so, as stable coins come into existence, so we just launched USD1 with World Liberty Financial. It's something I'm very proud of. You better believe that the United States is going to get the lion's share of money from all over the world. And you also better believe that the countries around the world are fearful of that, because they know that people trust the United States dollar more than they trust their home currencies.
I'm going to come back to American Bitcoin in a second, but I want to touch on something you said on stage again. You talked about a statistic, and I think it was less than 0.5% of Europeans would want to have a European-backed stablecoin. That on one side, just mind-blowing. But I think statistically on the side, they wanted 99% acceptance of a dollar-backed stablecoin.
If it's this is Europe, right? This isn't like a currency by relative standards, right, around the world. They tried to launch a European-based stablecoin, and less than 0.5% of crypto users in Europe wanted to purchase a European-based, a euro-based stablecoin. What did 99.5% of people want? They wanted a stablecoin that was backed by the US dollar. And that really shows how instrumental we are as a country. That really shows how instrumental our financial system is around the world. And it's one of the things that I really believe kind of catapults us ahead of everybody else. So many of these countries, people can't get the money out of it. Go back to Argentina 4 years ago, 3 years ago, before Milli. Try and get a peso out, right? They had the black market of US dollars. And why? Because it's the only thing that held their value in a currency that was otherwise, devaluing 50, 60, 70% year over year over year. Their money had no staying power. Everybody wanted to be in the US dollar. And that's exactly what stablecoin will offer. It will offer humanity a chance to be on the world's kind of best fiat currency. And if they don't want to be on that fiat currency, guess what it offers? It offers them the ability to buy Bitcoin, digital gold. It affords them the ability to buy Ethereum or a host of other investments. And guess where people can do this from? They don't need to go into JP Morgan. They don't need to go to Capital One. If they have a phone, it doesn't even need to be a fancy phone. If they have a phone, they can effectively play in the modern financial revolution. And that's the first time that's ever happened in the history of humanity, that certain people will have access to the capital markets in ways that they could have never imagined, on a level playing field, in a way that's incredibly cheap, incredibly transparent, has tremendous upside potential, without the middlemen who really kind of favor the people who, again, have a lot of zeros behind their name.
Well, when you take that evolution as part of this revolution, I'd like to say, talk about Operation Choke Point. And really the change that's now there, that's going to allow this almost mass adoption, or the democratization of access to this, because the banking system has to change versus whether it was legacy protectionism or other sub-agendas that created that issue.
Listen, I had a very good friend who runs one of the biggest shops. I'm not going to tip it off, but in Greenwich, Connecticut, he runs one of the big offices for one of the biggest banks in Greenwich, Connecticut, or wealth management side. And about 1.5 years ago, when Bitcoin was about 40,000, he goes, "I don't believe in that funny money. I don't believe in it." And I said, "Jeff, let me ask you a question. What would you invest in?" He goes, "I put all my money right now into the United States Treasuries." And about 2 weeks ago, he comes back to me. He goes, I've really started to believe in this whole Bitcoin thing. And I go, "How's your portfolio of Treasuries doing right now?" And, it's just kind of a funny story. What's happening is, the kind of slow adopters are starting to understand it. They're starting to see it. People are starting to see kind of cryptocurrency on the DeFi side, on the CeFi side, on the utility side, as a world that really has, tremendous legs. A world that so many consumers won't even see, won't be apparent to them, but their lives will get faster. Their payment processing will get quicker. It will get less expensive than it was before. And there's a lot of people that I think have to worry. I think a lot of the credit card companies have to worry, because I think, frankly, a lot of this can cut out the middlemen. I think a lot of banks have to be worried because, again, You don't need that branch bank in Zurich if you want to transfer money to the other side of the pond. Guess what you do? You send a little QR code on your phone to your buddy, and they scan it, and they ultimately send you whatever it is, wallet to wallet. Skipping the intermediary, skipping the middleman that used to take currency conversion fees, they used to take bank processing fees, they used to make an absolute fortune. I mean, your money was getting sent across the pond. Wasn't all that hard to do, but everybody was diluting it as it gets there. Now all of a sudden, congratulations, you want to buy that product, you want to buy that watch from your friend, in France. That money is not getting diluted anymore. It's going point to point. You're cutting out a person that really had nothing to do with the transaction, and that's one of the beautiful things about cryptocurrency. And that actually benefits, I think, the industrial world, maybe even more so than America in a certain way. It actually enables their products to flow into kind of Western civilization a hell of a lot easier, cheaper, more efficiently than they could have ever flowed before, when, again, they were at the behest of a lot of middlemen, the very same people that I was just talking about that were sitting in those big buildings in New York City, is not providing a whole lot of value.
Well, I firmly believe, and I think you share this perhaps, one of the greatest assets that we have in our country is our entrepreneurs, our innovation, and really we are on the precipice of this next phase. And let's talk about American Bitcoin a second, and this great partnership with Hut 8. And thrilled we're going to be having an interview with Hut 8 a little bit later today. Give me a little bit of your thinking, what that really means, because that's a big move that I think is a massive signal for the country.
I want to get involved in data centers. That's the future. Technology is growing exponentially. Compute power is so critically important. And I can tell you, because I travel every single day of my life, every country around the world that's serious is focused on it and putting hundreds of billions of dollars into it. And I didn't think we could get left behind. And I know my father, from an administration standpoint, certainly doesn't think we can get left behind. It's everything. It's everything for national security. It's everything for our economy. Our standing around the world is really, technology. I love Bitcoin. I believe in it. I believe in all its attributes. I believe that's the greatest hedge against hard assets in our entire portfolio. What I do every single day, the Trump organization, that's some of the greatest hard assets in the world. At the same time, I think with energy policy in this country, with a pro-energy administration, with some of the greatest energy reserves in the world, there is no one that should be able to mine Bitcoin better than the United States of America. We should be able to do it better. We should be able to do it far cheaper. Go try mining Bitcoin in the UK right now. Congratulations, right? You'll be upside down about 10x based on their utility costs, based on their energy costs. They don't have good energy. Their power grid stinks. It puts America at such a great competitive advantage against so many countries around the world. And so I believe in Bitcoin, and I believe in America. Hence, American Bitcoin. I met these guys at Hut 8 who were amazing guys. They kind of remind me of myself. One of them told a story about when they were opening up one of their data centers. He goes, I'm going to go there. I'm going to go to West Texas, and I'm not leaving until the building is done, built. And he's always spending all night. This is an executive of the company, plugging in all the machines, hooking up all the racks, building the site, soup to nuts. And I go, I like those guys. That was me. That was me. I was the guy that crawled around every single attic in our portfolio. I know where every single chilled water line is. I know where every piece of conduit is behind every wall in every hotel that we have.
Makes you such a better creator, doesn't it?
100%. I like the guys who have the bottom of their soles worn out on their dress shoes. It means they're active, right? Relative to the stiffs that oftentimes run these public companies that have never seen a data center, that have never been out of their office, right? It's all theoretical. It's all numbers. It's all Excel spreadsheets. I like the guys who are on the ground. And I was blown away by the Hut 8 guys. They do it so incredibly well. And I think, between what I'm doing, what they're doing, what we're doing together with American Bitcoin, I think we're going to form an incredible force. And I think we're going to do it in a company, in a country right now that is so well positioned to mine Bitcoin better, cheaper, more efficiently because of our energy policy than anywhere in the world. And so I like to do that here on U.S. soil. Many great things to come, and I'm super excited about kind of this next venture. I'm putting my heart and soul into it.
Well, that is incredibly exciting, the way you've put that together, and what great partners. You gave one other shout out up on stage to Dominari Securities team. You want to tell us what's going on there?
Dominari, they're a great company. They've been in Trump Tower forever. So I've got a little special twinkle in my eye whenever I see those guys. Are great. They have a floor in Trump Tower below our offices there, and they're an amazing firm, and they've brought a lot of great things to us in the past, and so many of those great things have worked out so incredibly well, and they become friends, and so they're obviously part of the venture and part of this kind of partnership in this new team, and they're just great. They're great people, and love having them be a part of it with us, and kind of having all these ecosystems join together as one.
Well, if it's okay with you, I'd love to give your dad a shout out. I know it's not part of our interview, but Mr. President, 1998, doubt you're going to remember, Burlington Capital, 59th floor of 40 Wall Street. Nobody believed in me. I was an entrepreneurial kid from Queens, New York, no balance sheet, and you backed me. You gave Joe Descent and I, now Spartan Races, Joe, the shot, and that propelled me, my family, created an entrepreneurial company that we were able to exit, and really was the epitome of you believing in entrepreneurs, giving the little guy the chance, and always wanted to say a thank you. So at this point, thank you. Thank you from my family and so many other entrepreneurs who I know you quietly have helped over the years. Eric, thank you so much for joining, and thank you for allowing me to share that moment for you, Dad. Beautiful story. Thank you, sir. Thanks.